one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
I'll tell you what, folks, I've got a whole boatload of kiss my ass. Not for you guys. You guys, we're all on the same team here. It's for everyone else. Washington, D.C. especially. I've had enough today. I'm full. As I was leaving my last stop, I said, guess what? I said, my give a shit factor is pretty low, right? So I wanted to know what's going on in the rest of the world, though. You know, from impeachment shenanigans to threats of World War III and nuclear strikes to conspiracy theories, aliens, it's all up in the air, folks. But let's keep it real, right? Let's keep it real. Let's start here. They started the impeachment hearings. And then there was this comment from Nancy Mace, Representative Nancy Mace. She's a Republican. She said, we already know Biden took bribes from Burisma. If that's a fact, post it on the internet. Post it for everyone to see. Make sure everyone in Congress knows it. Like as they come into the chamber, you say you're checking in. You send it, right? You make sure they sign the email and send it back. Yes, I now know that Biden took bribes from Burisma. That is impeachable right there. Done. There's no need to debate. There's no need to launder all of this out in public air. It's already been done. We've been following it for months. The impeachment hearing, the inquiry, the inquisition, it's not needed. Just file the papers, put them in the basket. They can go to the congressional record. We know what's been done. In a year, no one's going to give a shit whether the impeachment inquiry took a day, a week, or a month. We move right to the vote. We already know. If she says, we already know Biden took bribes from Burisma, then we already know. Go to the impeachment vote right now. You don't need to convince anybody. They already know it. It's crazy, folks. So what does that mean we're looking at? Kabuki theater. It's all drama. It's pandering to cameras. People are going to want to look and sound and smell important on the news. They're going to want their FaceTime. They're going to want to play this up so they can get more campaign contributions. I'm sure that's what a lot of this is about. Even though a couple of politicians may be honest about their desire to serve the country and protect our nation and our republic. They may be very honest about it. They can be 100% honest about it, and they're still going to take the time to do what's called grandstanding, where they stand up and they put up a big speech and they want to make a big stink and they want camera time, they want recognition, they want to be important because, well, they're on the winning side for once. So you know what I like in this too? Someone running down the football field and they got the football under their arm and they're running down the field and there's no one there to tackle them because the Democrats are all busy fighting each other and falling on the ground trying to hide. There's no one to tackle you. You run into the end zone, touchdown. Instead, they all want to stand on the 1 yard line and do the icky shuffle. They want to do a dance. They want everyone cheering. Just go in the end zone, touchdown, go back to the bench, sit down, vote for impeachment. Stop playing these fucking games. Folks, that's exactly, it's another indicator of the trouble we're in. The fact that these people don't have the dignity and the decency to do what's right and get it done fast. Now, speaking of dignity and doing what's right, they're now calling what's happening in Canada Nazigate. I hate the fact that they put the word gate after everything now. They've done it for years. Right? The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Baby Castro Turdhole, he has now come out and apologized. to Zelensky? Did he apologize to Parliament? Did he apologize to the Canadian people? Did he apologize to America? Did he apologize to the world? What I know is he apologized to Zelensky for bringing out a Ukrainian Nazi. I think we need to look at the active, modern, and in place Ukrainian Nazis from the Azov battalion. The world needs to see that. I think what he's kind of upset about, what he's kind of worried about, is that the whole world is going to realize, hey, this Nazi thing keeps coming up with respect to Ukraine. I think it deserves a lot more attention. I think it does. There's a little bit more coming out about, well, the Nazis and Ukraine. But I thought this was really important. The Azov, well, is it battalion, brigade, regiment? They keep changing the damn name of it. I don't know what to call it anymore. They did their Day of the Dead celebration. Yeah. The Dias de la Muerte, that kind of dead? No, they did a Day of the Dead where, well, they come out at night with torches and bonfires. They're having rallies all over Ukraine so that the people can support the Azov battalion and the people that have died over the last 10 years for Ukraine. I have something to say about this, folks. Coming out at night, holding political rallies where you have torches and fires, like Nazi book burning from World War II. They used to have a lot of rallies at night, folks. The Nazis always and frequently did nighttime rallies with fire, and for a reason. What have we been covering? The fact that Ukraine is getting its ass kicked. They're desperate now. The people are not supporting them. I just reported this morning that about 10,000 Ukrainians have surrendered to Russia via their Volga radio channel. I think, if I remember correctly, it was 149.2 megahertz, whatever the hell the station was, where you can tune in and tell them that you want to surrender. Right? They're getting their asses kicked, so they're resorting to these propaganda-packed fire meetings to try and rally the people and bring up morale. Anyways, the reason they're doing this is it works. The psychological impact of fireside, or rather at night, outdoor fiery rallies, the impact is tremendous. It speaks to the primitive part of the human brain. At night, the human brain is generally fearful. You can't see very far. You can't hear very well, right? You're open to attack. You're unprotected at night. So fire has served us for a long time as warming, welcoming, and protective. Even safe to have a fire. You feel safe with a fire. And I can attest to this. Having gone camping, I don't know how many times, right? When the fire starts to go out, right, you start looking around a little more. You start getting a little more nervous. Fire keeps the animals away, keeps the enemy away, right? Fire makes us feel safe. So when you spread a message of propaganda at night with fire roaring, it makes the message believable. It makes it more powerful, right? Believable, truthful. So whatever they're selling, well, it's the Day of the Dead. We need to commemorate our fallen comrades. Good job, Nazis in Ukraine. Too bad your leadership is too busy running around the world being a Peter Puffer and sucking up all the money he can and God knows what else. That is who Ukraine is, folks. Unbelievable. Now, I'm going to want to talk about a topic here. Oh, by the way, yes, questions down below to Mr. Uman. Get them in there. We're going to talk about what you want to talk about. And folks, I may just glance right over something. I may miss it completely. It happens every now and then. There's so much going on out there. This October 4th thing is really upsetting a lot of people. I'm now hearing about it from non-preppers, from strangers asking about it. So there is a big propaganda push out there to convince people that this October 4th FEMA thing, right, the Federal Emergency Management broadcast, is going to have an effect. Now, I've been told that if it happens, they'll hit this frequency. Your graphene oxide will shake, rattle, and roll. It'll explode. It'll make your head pop off. You know, who knows what? Will it look like the ending of the Kingsmen? I don't know. What I do know is if it knocks people out and kills them, we won't have a clue. It won't matter anyway. And if it does not kill you and you live and lots of other people have died, then we know that the conspiracy is real. We will have 100% confirmation that they're trying to kill us all. And then you can decide the danger and threat level that people that are left alive are to you. And that when you see figureheads of authority like police and politicians and others that are alive in your area, people who pretend to be authority figures, you can say, hey, you guys are responsible. Why should I trust you? Right? Who is responsible for doing this? Who is responsible for knowing? We're going to find out, folks. As for me, I'm not going to worry about it a whole lot. Like I said, if I keel over and my head explodes, well, then I'm done. Nothing more to worry about. If I'm left alive and bad things happen, well, I have a new mission, don't I? It's to find those responsible and basically bring them to the questioning table. Anyways, my recommendation is just be prepared. Because if you're prepared for October 4th, you're prepared for everything else. Everything else. Man, what do we talk about today? Do you want to do funny shit? Oh man, funny shit or serious shit? He's doing this too. He's like, I don't know where to go with this. Let's just have some more fun then. Get this. The Republicans have released another incriminating WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden to Jim Biden, Uncle Jim. It's beyond asinine, folks. It's beyond every piece that we're getting on Biden. Remember what Clinton was impeached for what? Bill Clinton, President of the United States, what was he impeached for? For lying, perjury, for lying about Monica Lewinsky. He wasn't impeached for treason. He wasn't impeached for bribery. He wasn't impeached for sexual assault. He wasn't impeached for shaking down political donors. He wasn't impeached over any of that. He was impeached for lying about Monica Lewinsky. It depends on what the definition of is. Right? No, did you have, never mind. I won't even describe the things he was supposed to have done. But he lied about it, and that's what he was impeached for. What hasn't Joe lied about would be a shorter list than what he has lied about. And the entire family, the entire Biden cartel, it is a crime family. There are multiple, at least, we're closing in on a dozen, at least a dozen Biden family members who are part of this money racketeering system. Every little piece, it should just take just one of these and impeachment. They should have had a hearing over the Hunter Biden laptop, drug that laptop, and then Hunter to Congress and said, who's the big guy? Oh yeah, the license plate on the Corvette belonging to Joe Biden, I think that's him. 10% for the big guy. So are you saying that 10% goes to the big guy on any deal you do? Let him lie. It's unconscious. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, folks. It's beyond asinine at this point to even consider that there's nothing wrong that Biden has done. If he has done 1% of what he's accused of, he should be impeached for that. It's like, well, we just need just one more really big one, right? No, we don't. Afghanistan was big enough. It's just crazy. All his lies about being a worker, a truck driver, a miner, a construction guy, a teacher, a student, part of the civil rights movement. Next, we're going to hear that he helped defeat Hitler. This guy is just full of shit. And there you have it, right? And they're encouraging violence, folks, like you can't imagine. This one just, they're allowing violence. Democrat mayors, Democrat judges, and Democrat prosecutors, not to mention Democrat governors, all the way up to the White House. They want violence, right? For example, a fast food worker, fast food workers, got no problem with people doing that as a job, but you aren't supposed to shoot a gun at your customers. Well, a fast food worker who did just that fired a handgun twice at a customer, got 1 year probation. See, folks, now being violent has zero punishment, and it is going to get worse in this lack of law and lack of order state. We need to be in states and cities that have law and order, like Polk County, Florida. Polk County, Florida. Polk County is where Sheriff Grady Judd is, and violence from people, assault, attempted murder, home invasion, it's not permitted. In fact, he recommends that you protect yourselves, right? I recommend living in a law and order state. I would consider moving to Polk County. In fact, I think I spent some time there. I know I've driven through it. Anyways, but back to the violence. Back to the violence that's out there. Do you remember this crazy psycho lady? She's a professor even. She was being asked questions by a reporter, and she didn't like that. So did she tell him to go away? Did she say, look, leave me alone or I'll call the police? Did she barricade herself in her home and not answer the door? Or did she come to the door, open it, brandish and wield a machete, hold this machete to the reporter's throat? That's what she did, folks. A professor, a psychotic, racist professor, held a machete to a reporter's throat. Well, she just got hired. That's right. She's got a great job in education. She just picked up a new job at a college in New York City. Apparently, being a psychotic racist is a resume enhancer. Once again, violence. Hell, I guess if she had cut the dude's head off with a machete, she could have been dean instead of just a professor. Do you see where this is going? See what I'm saying to you? People that are violent, they will be violent. They will continue to be violent. That is what they do. They say dogs bark, cats meow, and psychotics are psychotic. Well, let's take it from New York colleges up to the world-class level. Over in Russia, or rather Ukraine, in the battlefields, the Wagner private military contractors have returned. What's interesting is while they were gone, in their absence, the Russians seem to have been doing just fine without them, the regular Russian military. But now the private military contractors are back. The mercenaries are back. And they'll probably begin to really put the hurt. Now, I think that since Prigozhin, the former ruler, leader, mastermind behind Wagner, he was reported as dead. I still don't believe it. Right? right? Apparently that was going to take care of the group. Well, they're back. They're being held together. They're following orders, folks. Dogs do bark, cats do meow, and mercenaries do kill. It's what they do. Violence, folks, begets violence. Violence begets violence on every level. As above, so below, in the micro as well as the macro. It also seems that ignorance begets ignorance. It truly does. I'm going to give you a taste of this, right? I'm going to give you a little taste of this. Ignorance on parade. Has shit hit the fan, folks? Has the world lost its collective mind? Oh, yeah. Right. So an actor decided to go and do an interview, kind of do a little debate, a trans rights debate. And this actor has a meltdown, breaks down in tears and starts crying because, well, trans boys are being excluded from girls' sports. Oh, good God. So this actor is also non-binary. So let me describe to you what this actor looks like. Looks like a dude with long, flowing, beautiful hair and a beard who wears women's clothes. Non-binary. Folks, science disagrees with the trans people. No matter how healthy and how full your long hair is, and no matter how well groomed and trimmed your beard is, no matter how firmly you tuck your Franks and beans between your ass cheeks, no matter how emotionally distraught you are by taking female hormones and throwing an absolute hysterical fit, no matter all that, you are not a woman. You can't be a woman. Science disagrees with those weirdos, folks. Science, which we were told to trust. If you remember that, trust the science. And then within a mere matter of months, they're like, no, that's not science. We were told to trust science. It defines you, if you've got Franks and beans, it defines you as a male. And it doesn't matter how you dress or what drugs you take, you are a male with a mental disorder or disorders. And so for people like this out there, folks, they are mentally deranged. And what have we learned about trans people who become hysterical and they feel threatened when people don't participate, no matter how strongly they demand it? People refuse to participate in their delusional fantasies. Violence begets violence. They hate themselves. The act of destroying your body with false hormones, surgeries, denying who you are and what you are and pretending to be something else, that's an act of, well, is that, if there's anything that's a microaggression, that sounds like a microaggression to me, denying oneself who oneself is. So they start with that microaggression against themselves. And then when that mental disease infects all of them, they lash out violently. Violence begets violence. Whether it's fruitcakes or political leaders, whether it's teachers or whether it's mercenaries, violence begets violence. We are in some big, big trouble, folks. That's right. You got the Nazi Azov Brigade doing their Day of the Dead fireside chats, trying to whip people up into an hate-filled frenzy. It's kind of crazy. Now let's continue with ignorance and violence, shall we? Elon Musk came out, and he has been doing a good job. And again, I will commend people, whether they're in business or in politics or just regular everyday Joes. I'll commend them if they do what's right. Well, Elon Musk has looked at the Twitter, which is now called X. I don't know if we're ever going to get over calling it Twitter, just to call something X. Anyways, Twitter's election integrity team has been fired by Elon Musk, including its leadership, its big bosses. What does that say about the election integrity team that Twitter had? It means they didn't have any integrity. They had an agenda. They didn't have integrity. They had agenda. Haven't we learned this now? Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of the foremost so-called scientists, has denied that men are men and that having them compete in sports against women is just fine. He has completely left the realm of integrity. He's now acting violently towards his own understanding of the universe, right? All of these people on that side, folks, lack integrity, intellectual integrity, moral integrity, all manner of self-respect. To believe a lie commands you to give up your self-respect. Do you see how this can lead to violence? If you don't respect yourself, how can you respect others? Aren't these simple lessons that we used to learn from our mothers and fathers growing up, learn from our brothers and sisters, learn from our cousins and friends? You learn self-respect. You stand up for yourself and for what you know is right. Self-respect. Well, if you've got no integrity, you've got no self-respect. If you can't do what's right, folks, they don't do what's right when no one is looking. They don't even do what's right when people are looking. Hello, Bidens. What does that tell you about these people? Yeah, they've got no integrity, no self-respect. And they're doing all they can to destroy others, including children. That makes them violent, terrible, awful people. That is who your political adversaries are now, folks. It's no longer a question of putting a mark on a piece of paper, either next to a Democrat or a Republican. It's way beyond that. It's not about, who looks good in front of a television screen, right? Biden does not look good, sound good, or act good in front of a television prompter. Yet these people support him. It's because they have an aggressive hatred. They have an aggressive hatred for everybody that disagrees with them. Shit has hit the fan, folks. I want everyone prepared for what is coming. I mean, when it comes to integrity, get this, right? Down in Texas, they have children are not allowed to attend sexualized performances. That's a law. It's a state law. In the state of Texas, in the Republic of Texas, which under the American system is a state that has joined the Union, the state has a right, it has an obligation, a duty to protect children. But a federal judge there has decided to say, no, that law is no good. You cannot ban minors from attending drag shows and hanging out with perverts. We have a mega overstepping here. The judge has no integrity. They have no integrity. I checked the Constitution, folks. There is no federal guarantee that children can go hang out with drag queens. Back then, I was going to say 250 years ago, people didn't have to be told that a man dressing like a woman, acting like a whore, dressing like a whore, behaving like a whore, talking like a whore, should be nowhere near a child, because that didn't even exist then. And up to 5 years ago, the idea of anyone saying that that's a good idea would have been considered preposterous. But now you can see exactly how quickly, how speedily, how far they have run from anything having to do with moral integrity, decency, morality these left people have. I checked the Constitution. It's not there, folks. There's no, the government shall not prohibit anyone from exposing their children to the genitals of some freak. But here we are. Unbelievable, folks. Integrity. Congress. We have the information. There's no reason to play these games. Impeach Biden. There's nothing to prove here which is not already unknown. There is no defense for Biden at the impeachment level, in the impeachment process. Folks, where that becomes real is over in the Senate. The House merely has to impeach. The proof, the evidence is bountiful. There's nothing to question at this point. Send it to, refer it to the Senate, and that's where Biden can defend himself. That's where the trial really happens. That's where the trial really happens. And folks, don't worry, the United States Senate has no integrity either. Let me give you a couple examples, and then I'll turn everything over to you guys. Matt Gaetz, Republican out of Florida, Representative Matt Gaetz, will make the first point for me. This is his quote. "We are devaluing American money so rapidly that in America today, you can't even bribe Democrat senators with cash alone. You need to bring gold bars to get the job done, just so that the bribes hold their value." So Matt Gaetz made fun of Senator Menendez, who should be impeached. He should have the dignity and the integrity to step down for accepting gold as a bribe. This is also a slap at the Federal Reserve because their currency, the U.S. Federal Reserve note, the U.S. Federal Reserve dollar, is losing value through inflation. It has no integrity as a currency. So he made fun of them, right? And basically the U.S. government and its spending. He says they're devaluing American money so rapidly, right? Yeah, they are. They're just throwing our money around, giving it away, giving it to Voldemort Zelensky, giving it to illegal aliens. Just unbelievable. So Senator Menendez, Bob Menendez, taking bribes. And today in the U.S. Senate, they had to pass a rule saying that if you're going to be in the Senate chambers, you need to abide by the dress code. The Senate is supposed to be the most austere body of statesmen in the world, right? And so you will dress in the appropriate attire, shirt, tie, coat, pants, right? Because Uncle Festerman, Senator Festerman, has been wearing basically ghetto slum clothes. Now, at your own house, I get it. Wear a t-shirt, wear a hoodie, wear some sweatpants. Fucking Festerman has been appearing in the Senate wearing gym clothes, folks. Ghetto attire. So if they impeach Biden, which they should do instantly, refer all that data to the Senate and say, get the trial going. They're going to have people like Bob Menendez, who's accepting bribes. Why is he not arrested if they have evidence of this? Why is he not wearing handcuffs? Why is he not in an orange jumpsuit? Why is he still a U.S. senator? He is so shameless he won't leave the office. And Festerman is so damn brain dead. He is literally retarded now. He cannot understand words that are spoken to him. He looks like Frankenfuckenstein. He's lost. And they're like, well, pal, if you want to pretend to be a senator, we're going to need you to get dressed at least. Crazy, folks. And we're supposed to trust the Senate to consider real evidence against Biden. We may as well have Colin Kaepernick run for the Senate. More on him later. Mr. Ooman, it's going to be time for the Inner Circle. So let's get it on. Wow. You shouldn't wait till the second half to get your questions in, but you can still get questions in. Uh-oh, Luman says the chat is feeling kind of philosophical today. Ruh-roh. Well, let's have it. Who has something to say? Charles Gentry steps up and says, he who fights for blood soon finds it dripping from his own heart. He who fights for glory never lives long enough to hear the victory songs. He who fights for gold is already blinded by the glitter and glare of his own greed. All too soon led astray by all things shiny. He who fights for sport seldom finds the gods are in a sporting mood. He who fights for love must leave the one he loves the most behind so he can dance with the one he hates the most. But he who fights for honor cannot be led astray. That's a quote from Hannibal. That is very philosophical. Thank you, Charles, for sharing that. Makes me want to bring up the series of lines from the movie Volunteers, where the discussion of time and money came in. Yeah, but that, I'll tell you what, Charles. There's just a lot to what is going on, right? We have to work to pay our bills, so we have to pursue the gold. But to be greedy, I had an interesting conversation about that with someone I'll call my coworker today. Being greedy. We have a big fight in front of us. I think you ended with, but he who fights for honor cannot be led astray. Integrity. If you can keep your integrity, keep your honor, your self-respect, if you cannot be bought or sold easily, I think you're good. But maybe the way that was described, the way that went around Hannibal's words, were understand what you're fighting for, understand what you're working for, understand what your goals are. I mean, crazy stuff. I'm going to leave it with the words that were on the screen. You guys think about it. I mean, I know what I think, right? Live by the sword, die by the sword, bloody hands, bloody heart, all that. But if you fight for honor, if you understand honor, dignity, integrity, you know who your enemies are, because they'll try and tempt you with all things to bribe you and get you away from what is your honor and your integrity. You kind of covered that when I discussed these congressmen who want to grandstand and put on a big shiny show for everyone. It's not needed, right? It's not needed. Anyways, we got a lot coming. Mikey G steps in and he says, trying to make America an honor-free zone. Oh, it's there, Mikey. They've done an awfully good job, wouldn't you say? I talked to you about more federal court rulings, whether it's the Second Amendment or the sanctity of the innocence of children. That is one of the things that is really spoken of in the New Testament, is the innocence of children and protecting it. And in the Old Testament, folks, there's a lot of what is known as child sacrifice, literal child sacrifice. What do we see being sacrificed today, folks, in the realm of children? Innocence. Well, let us start with child sex trafficking and exploitation. Does this world have integrity if that's going on and the government knows about it and they're not doing what they're supposed to? How about child gender transitioning? Children should not be allowed to make decisions that affect their whole life. Something like who they are as a human being, understanding who they are. If you got a penis, you're a boy. If you got a vagina, you're a girl. It's that basic. How about abortion? The sanctity of life, honoring life. honoring innocence, protecting it. What do the Democrats want? They want to destroy life and offer abortion to everybody and glamorize it and glorify it and sanctify it and even ritualize it. This is what Democrats stand for, folks. Absolutely destroying the innocence of children. Isn't that disgusting? It is dishonorable, folks. Dishonorable. Every Democrat that supports any of those things, including directly sacrificing children. And what's the difference between indirectly and directly? They're killing children, they're selling children, they're stealing their innocence, they're abusing them. That is the Democrat Party. How the fuck can anyone even bother? How can anyone even pretend to defend that? It's the world we're in. I tell you what, when it comes to throwing fisticuffs, when the shit gets nasty, I won't feel bad for a second when any of those people get what's coming to them for thinking and believing and doing what they do. Unfreaking believable. Charles Gentry has more to say. He's brought more out. He says, in order to have moral integrity, one must first have integrity. In order to be moral, one must have morality. Let's go with that. You guys are being rather philosophical today, and that's fine by me. Right? The thinking man is a philosopher. Right? The unthinking man is an ignoramus, a dunderhead. And the indoctrinated man thinks he's intelligent, but just repeats and parrots what others have told him. That is basically who the Democrats are. They're either completely ignorant, ignoramus, troglodytes, or they are brainwashed, they are indoctrinated, and they are sellouts. How can you have self-respect if you've sold out to the notion that children should not have any innocence, that they need to be, well, put into positions to make decisions like adults? They're just unbelievable. Thank you, Charles, very much for all that you do for the show. Thank you to everybody who have been supporting the show. Thank you to those who have gone to a PayPal, CashApp, and Venmo and made donations to the Prepared Mind, well, pantry and alcohol storage. I get both, folks. I go, use this and get some prep food in there. And then also, hey, why don't you go get yourself a bottle of scotch? Thank you to you guys who have done that. It's great. It's terrific. We got bills to pay, and you guys make this channel happen. All right, Mr. Ooman, I want to keep going. I mean, I can't stop, not with all this great wisdom being shared. Orlando steps in and says, John, what do you think of the USSC ruling in favor of the White House gun ban? I think they have no integrity. I think they are liars. I think they are contemptuous because they have contempt for your rights and my rights and all of our rights. They have no honor amongst them. There is no honor amongst thieves, folks. They have no honor. They have become thieves. They accept that they're thieves, liars, knaves, and fools, and they like it. What do I think of the USSC ruling in favor of the White House gun ban? I think it's unconstitutional. I think it's unconscionable. They are fabricating lies and made up history to say, oh, yeah, they have all kinds of authority to do stuff. The same way the U.S. government and a bunch of lawyers sat around and said, well, it's fine. We can tell people that they can't go into businesses. We can make up all kinds of... On Monday, they can make a ruling saying a private business can tell Republicans they're not allowed to go in there and go shopping. And on Friday, just a few days later, they can go to Republican business and say, you're not allowed to turn away anyone. You have to do what everyone else says, right? They change their mind depending on which way the wind blows. What do you think the White House opinion would be if, say, all of the Republicans in the state of Texas, and this is a what if, and I'm not glamorizing it or making this cute, but imagine that every Republican in Texas grabbed a Democrat by the collar and, well, exterminated them. Do you think the Democrats in the other 49 states would say we should disarm everybody, including Texas? Or do you think they would say, oh shit, it just got real? We think all Democrats should have guns, as many guns as they can get, as much ammo as they can get, as many high capacity magazines for their pistols, their shotguns, their rifles, for everything. Which one do you think they would choose for themselves? Think they would choose to try and disarm Texas, or do you think they would choose to arm up? I guess we'll find out, folks, because at some point people are going to have had enough of this shit. Organizations like the USSC, organizations like National Rifle Association, Gun Owners of America, organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Anti-Defamation League. Name any organization and it has a political stance. It has an agenda. It has a platform. It has a belief system that it shares with its members, and its members foist onto the leadership. Democrats strongly believe that they're correct, folks. They may not have logic on their side or reason, but they got an agenda, and they believe it as strongly as you believe in the truths that you know to be true. They believe in their agenda so strongly that no amount of evidence or intelligence, not even science, will stop them. I think the USSC and the White House can kiss my ass. Joe Biden can kiss my ass. All of them can kiss my ass. If I stop defending myself and those I love and my state, then I'm as good as dead in this world. I truly am. The government, folks, has turned a blind eye to its duties. It has no honor. It has no integrity. In Alabama, Katie Britt. Alabama, folks, is not Texas or Arizona or California or New Mexico. It's not a border state. But Senator Katie Britt from Alabama has just come to the media and very passionately told them, we need you to cover the southern border. It is a nightmare. The media has no integrity, honor. It has no morality or decency because they don't cover the truth or facts. They're all about agenda, the same way judges and prosecutors are about agenda, the same way perverts and liars in these clubs, right, have their agendas, and they're willing to do anything to protect them. Well, if they're willing to do anything to take away your rights, shouldn't you be willing to do anything to protect them? Protect your own rights, that is. Remember when the news actually told America what was happening to our country, to other countries? The media used to talk about what's going on in cities, and it didn't matter who was in charge, who the politician was. They just didn't like crime. They didn't like corruption. They wanted to report on it. News organizations used to be competitive. They would compete with one another to see who could get the truth out the fastest, who could say the words, who could speak the truth the most clear. But for the past 25 years, and you might even go back to the beginning of the Clinton administration in the early 90s to find an early root of evil that was planted in the media. They quit competing with one another to tell the truth, to give the facts to the people, to cover a story, to give a shit about America. They gave up that competition to see who was the most patriotic. And what did they do instead? They started competing with each other to see who could be the biggest suck up. so you could kiss the ass of the White House or the governor or the mayor the most, the hardest, the longest, so you could plant their lips firmly on the bunghole of whoever was pushing the Democrat agenda. So I appreciate that Senator Katie Britt has decided to call out the media regarding the nightmare along the Mexican-American border. But I think that if she's done any good here, it's not for the border or the border states. What she has done is shown all of America that media, mainstream media, television, satellite, radio, print, is trash. There's nothing redeeming there at all. There's no value because there's no integrity. There's no value because there's no honor. There's no value because there's no self-respect by those people. They have sold out everyone, including children. A newscaster at a local news station. The guy gets up and goes to work. He stops. Thank you very much. He stops at a coffee shop. People know who he is. He gets gasoline for his car, real gas for a real car. People know who he is, this news reporter. And he gets up and he speaks to the people through the camera, through the airwaves, and tells them what's going on. They don't do that anymore. If you see one of these people in public, you ought to be able to pull them off to the side and go, why the fuck aren't you talking about the southern border? Why aren't you talking about children? Why aren't you talking about Joe Biden, the Biden cartel, and just all of the people in D.C.? Name them. Why aren't you talking about what an absolute embarrassment? What a bunch of charlatans they are. Why aren't you defending children and families and decency? Why are you pushing propaganda and this homosexual agenda? What kind of human being are you? Right? They should be the most outraged because they're supposed to be the voice and herald for the public. That's what they're supposed to be, is heralding the facts and the truth. Instead, they don't. They have no integrity, folks. They're a bunch of suck-ups. Mr. Who-Man, let's move on if we shall. Chin Music steps in and says, hell, John, in a year, we are all going to be fighting off the zombie hordes once they run out of shit to steal in Philly, New York, and San Francisco. Bring it on. At that point, Chin, bring it on. They're going to close down all the stores in Frisco, in Chicago, in Philly, in New York, in Baltimore. Look out in Dallas, man. San Antonio. There's some problems in Texas, as well as LA and Seattle and Portland. Every major metropolis, be it Denver or Kansas City, up in Detroit, down in Atlanta, they're all shitholes. Every major American city right now is turning into a third world trash heap. Have you seen the pictures of some countries? Countries you've never heard of, Azerbaijan. There are some absolutely marvelous, well-planned cities around the world where the streets are clean, the buildings are neat and tidy. They don't allow drug addicts to roam the street, mentally derelict fruitcakes all over the place. They don't allow it. And consequently, they have very nice cities. You look at American cities and they are run down. They are dirty and filthy, and homeless and mentally deranged lunatics are everywhere. And deranged lunatics are in charge of the cities. America, the United States of America, the major cities, the metropolises of America are a fucking embarrassment now. Zombies, you are right, Chin. When it happens, it's going to be on, folks. There are going to be tears flowing when people realize what's happened to their country and that the solution has come to that. And there's going to be people that are going to have to do what they got to do, man. You know what you're going to have to do, Chin. All right, everyone. Let's continue if we shall. Uman says, just saw that Lord Newsom, that would be Lord Gavin Newsom of California. Lord Newsom has passed a law in California dictating that all fast food workers will earn a minimum of $20 an hour starting next April. How do you qualify as fast food? Or is this any restaurant worker? They're going to do that, huh? Let me tell you what's going to happen to fast food restaurants in California. Guess what they're going to do? Now, is this one of these laws, Uman, where the law only applies in, say, the San Francisco Bay Area or the Los Angeles Basin? Or is this border to border and sea to shining Nevada sea? I guess we'll find out, but I'll tell you what's going to happen. Restaurants, fast food places will close down. Just like they're closing down stores, this is a form of robbery. It's a form of robbery. We're in a bad state, folks, no doubt. The dollar is being worth less and less each day as inflation sucks away its value. Our effort, our labor, the value we have as employees or business owners is reduced every day as our currency is destroyed by the Federal Reserve and people like scumbag Lord Newsom, who blow money, go into debt, borrow money, saying you're going to pay it back. The amount of money in circulation versus what is actually being created is what is devaluing our efforts and who we are. This country is going to shit, folks. It's bad. Now, once again, are you going to pay $20 for a Whopper? You already, I think, the last time I checked, I went by and I got a big glass of ice water. Anyways, I think a meal deal I saw on a menu board had to be $12 for a drink, French fries, and a fucking hamburger. I was shocked. A Whopper should cost $1, not $10. But here we are, folks. That's what they're doing. Wow. Just fucking wow. Well, thank you there, Governor Newsom. One more reason for me not to go back to California. Crazy days, folks. Crazy, crazy days. Are we done, Mr. Uman? Is there more going on or no? Because I've got, oh, here we are, Mikey G. Man, I run out of time every stinking day. Mikey G says, how many monkeys have died for the Neuralink trials and how the human trials have begun? And now the human trials have begun. Neuralink, I believe, is Elon Musk's, let's make your brain talk to the internet. I'll pass. This is one of those things where I'll criticize the fuck out of Elon Musk. Who do you think you are, man? Just why? Where's the benefit to it? Do I need my brain hooked into the internet? If I want to know something and I don't already have it up here, I'll go to the internet all by myself. I don't need my brain hooked in. I mean, why would you trust your brain with someone else being able to link into it? I already have ears to hear and eyes to see. I don't need my mind to be told what to believe by jamming information in it that could be misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. Good God, Mikey, that's horrifying to hear. Yeah, bring on the human trials. Do it. Democrats, go line up right now and get your Neuralink. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Good God. Okay, thank you, Mr. Uman. Wow. Unbelievable. We're at the end, folks. We're at the end. And I'll let you know. Let's see. Dogs bark, cats meow, mercenaries kill, violence begets violence, and Democrats need more and more people to hate and fight with, and so they'll even fight with each other. The mayor of El Paso is a stinking scumbag of a Democrat, But he is now busing his migrants, they're not migrants. They're illegal intruders in this country. But he's busing them now from El Paso to New York, Chicago, Denver, and other places. Are New York, Denver, Chicago, and other places going to sue El Paso or the mayor? Folks, the Democrats love fighting. They're so full of hatred, they'll fight each other. They'll fight each other. It has hit the fan. Have you prepared? Are you ready for what's coming next? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. Get it together, because chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Oh, God bless America. Semper Fi.